Hi, my name is Castillo. I'm going to sing El Tralala y el Punteado by Enrique Granados.
One of the things that you all have to decide, you have to do programming, and when you go to sing for people, you might have a couple things. If you go to audition, you might have a couple things. I think that's a pretty good first choice. It moves, and another thing about it that I really, really like, it has a long enough introduction for you to get settled and to feel like that. There are just many strategies to do about, if there's one measure of introduction, you really have to understand what you're going to do to be ready to take the room. This gives you a little bit more time to do that. That's it. And then there are a couple interludes where Deb plays, and then you can get going. On a range of subjects, I'm going to choose this one. I could have done this at any point in the night. On a range of 1 to 10, if 1 is low and 10 is high, how nervous are you? 8. Good. If that's an 8, you're doing fantastic. Do you get nervous when you sing? What do you do about it? Do you have strategies to help you?
No.
All right.
Well, it depends on whether I'm singing in the shower or in front of people.
Right.
If I'm singing in front of people, I just, try and relax, like pretend that there's not all these people just staring completely at me.
Why? That's part of the answer. Why being in front of people? People staring. Why does that make you nervous?
They're judging me.
They're predators. Our human DNA past is, if an animal is staring at you, it is going to attack you. That is how a predator prepares. So when there are hundreds of eyes looking up at you, something at the base of your brain stem says wrong. And it can be a very, very strong thing. So that because for some people, that sense of panic at that moment is kind of uncontrollable. So I'm not looking at you. I'm not a predator, and B, you didn't act like it was, you didn't seem like it was an 8. Your nerves?
Yeah, I get nervous.
What do you do?
Not really anything. I just try to deal with it.
Dealing time?
Sometimes it helps me to think about the character that I'm seeing. Like the person is not, that you're seeing from the perspective of, is not nervous. They're feeling some other emotion.
Excellent answer. If you have something to do, it will quiet the nervous response.
Yes, and I try to take deep breaths and try to convince myself that I'm going to do it.
Yes, and I try to think about how my life is over, I will be happy.
That's fantastic.
Yes. I usually yell at anybody in my intermediate vicinity.
That's a choice. I think my wife and daughter might say that might be my manifestation too. Well, there was a fantastic answer last night, which was, It's not useful. I think, who said this last night? I think it wasn't Maddie.
I think it's Maddie was talking about you shouldn't think about nervous or something.
Well, she said, don't tell yourself not to be nervous, because that just kind of escalates it. And I think that's exactly right. If you're saying, oh God, don't be nervous, it's like, all right, that's really solidifying. It's now concrete that I'm nervous. Give yourself a plan of things to do. So that's the right answer. So, what's your plan?
I just breathe deeply and pretend there's not people in the room.
That's a fine plan. What's the song about?
It's about a girl who is liked by somebody and she doesn't return that.
Now, so there are some acting questions that I'll ask as the evening goes on. I will start with the first one. Who is that somebody?
Well, I guess I'm supposed to act like them.
No, who is the somebody that she is? It is in vain, my love. Who are you speaking to? Now here, it has to be specific. You don't have to tell me, but it has to be a person that you know. You know what they look like, and you know how they can respond, and that would excite a response in that. So, even as we're speaking, do you see the animation in her face now? Sing with that meaning. Like, oh, I can sing about somebody. So the introduction, somebody said breathe, that was right. Somebody had said have it be about something. Breathe and sing about that thing.
I'm going to do that.
Yes. I might stop you. Another thing to work on, and if Carrie and Danielle or Danielle do this differently. Here, let me do this. So to start, you come up here and you're here, and you're trying to get your place and have it be about something. There's this moment where you go, okay, I'm ready. And then you look over here and you go like, I'm ready. But in fact, there's sort of this guessing game going on between the accompanist and the singer. Here is a way to settle the guessing game. What it is about, what each of your songs about. When does that about? I have a friend who teaches uses this word aboutness as a singular word. When does the aboutness of this song start?
As soon as she starts playing.
That is everybody's answers. I ask my students that all the time. If it starts when she starts playing, then both of you are going to be too late. The aboutness should start before there is any music. In the silence of this space in between us, if you look up, and if you see him, if you see it, if you see the story, Deb will know, and she'll start. And then we all are invited into that story. Here's what happens if you do this, and if she doesn't start, because like you looked over and then you're back, and so if it's me playing, like, are you really ready? And then here's what happens. You look back, and then she starts. And that's, so just trust that when you're really ready, she'll know, and the music will spring into the space. Your turn. How are your nerves now? On a scale of 1 to 10.
5.5.
Good. And that's pretty much reflected in how she's doing, isn't it? So, by the time you get to the third iteration of it, when we, is this da capo?
Mhm.
And so when you come back, it really seems like you're settled. So, play a trick on yourself now. We're going to start it again. And pretend, just act that settled at the beginning. And the thing that I know that you're more settled is that at the beginning your start was much better. I was much more invited into your story that time, the way you were, and perhaps you're being less nervous. Your breath, 90% of us, I'll include myself in that, I have to be intentional, and you need to be intentional that we breathe late. In this singing thing, when you take over conscious control of breathing, we hear the introduction, we know it's our entrance, you know your music very well. And I am not nervous at all that you're not going to come in, because I see you there. But your breath hasn't prepared for that in a way. Play the introduction. When did I breathe?
I think where does the last note was of the
I think 2 beats before. So we all hear bum, ba, bra, and then we take a quick breath. Take, ba, sa. So the sound, like I said, the story needs to exist before the sound happens in the room, and the vitality of your breath needs to exist before your singing is engaged. Hear the introduction, and I'm going to quietly say breathe. You did it on the when we went back. We'll try this now. I'll discreetly stand here. No one will notice me. And do I have 30 more seconds?
20 seconds.
20, 19, 18. Carrie and I both studied with John Fiorito. Did you ever study with John?
Oh, of course. Like
Yeah.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, so I studied with this guy, great teacher. I love John Fiorito. John Fiorito would not be universally acclaimed as being a really nice, warm person. He was a good man, but he could be brusque at times. And he said to me, why are you twiddling around in your feet like that? Stand. And I was like, what do you mean? And I was shifting my weight all the time. And he came up to me, he said, because when you're shifting your weight all the time, your body and your breath aren't grounded. He said, I could knock you over at any point. You're twiddling just like I did. Now, as I got settled, I said, do I have to stand like this all the time? No. You can shift your weight. You can shift your weight a lot, and it's fine to do, but you have to shift your weight from strength to strength. You have to actually let your weight fall. You can move your feet. It is fine to move. We are not stuck up here. I'm not going to coach a position. One more time, let's just sing the first phrase. See how it feels to feel your weight and sing out of that groundedness. Did you feel like you were in a straitjacket, not being able to move? It is, the way we are physically is, there are things to do, and it does make you feel like that a little bit. But the first phrase did feel and sound a little more